Batgirl 45, Cecil Castellucci writing with Carmine Di Domenico on the art. I have to say, Castellucci's run is really starting to feel a little bit troublesome because the first couple issues from Castellucci were solid enough, and it was nice to continue what was going on before. But you kind of get, now I'm getting the impression that the reason why that first arc at least started pretty strong was because it was just continuing what was already set up from before. Because I think Margaret Scott, who was on the book before, kind of left suddenly, and maybe it was like, okay, here's my notes for the next, the rest of this story, and that's what Castellucci was working from. But then we had that two-parter in the the made-up world from Titans, and I really didn't like that two-parter. And in this issue, I also didn't like that much. I felt like it was overly wordy. It took so long to get to the point that it was trying to make. When it got to the point where Batgirl eventually realized what was kind of going on, I was like, we took so long to get here.
Yeah, I've been calling this book overly wordy since Castellucci took over, pretty much. And even for me, this issue felt excessive. So I just imagine.
I don't know if I'd want to continue because there's nothing, like there's nothing interesting here with Babs. Like I don't care about her and Jason Bard. I don't like. It's lost its sense of identity of this is Babs like being Batgirl, right? Like I
was actually thinking as I was reading this today that I might drop it. But based on this run, based on this writer, obviously a new creative team. I'll check it out again because of course I love Babs and I love because even early on there was a really confusing thing to me in the art slash the writing where you have Babs come down, she finds this homeless person that's been coated in gold, and then there's all this lightning going on, and there's this weird thing where there's a couple of like people speaking off panel, and I got really confused, and it was one of those sort of things where if it started off with like something happening from a distance and we see these word balloons coming off panel, I'd completely understand what was going on. But in all this chaos, it was really confusing to me why like Batgirl seemed unaware of them, or why they were okay even though all this chaos was going on. It all felt a bit confusing. And then eventually we see like members of this like SWAT team or whatever taking the gold person into a van, but it felt really clunky the way it was introduced into the scene, and it didn't flow well for me at all.
I agree. I think you needed to see the figures outline first, and then you can do all these panels and then make it clear that she's not seeing it right away. If that's the route you want to go, she's not seeing it in the confusion. But if you just show us them coming in off panel first, out of her line of sight, then have her, looking confused and not seeing it, but then you can still have the speech bubbles go to off panel, and we know who's saying this now, or we've got some idea.
Yeah, like conceptually, I don't necessarily have a problem with the conceptual ideas that are going on here. This idea of this rich person who's building this weird energy source out of taking homeless people and anyone they can get their hands on and turning them into this gold substance, like,
and somehow involves nanobots.
Yeah,
it's a Bond villain plot.
I mean, whatever. Like, I can get on board with that. I didn't enjoy the actual progression of it. There was so much dialogue from this character, her showing them around their plan, and like Babs like eventually getting to the point where something was going on and finally coming in. Like it took too long to get to that point, and then but she runs into Batwoman, and this really bothered me in the art. Like, why is Batwoman's suit grey? I don't understand. And the weird thing is see if it was just all the one tone, I would say it's just, I mean, it's still black, it's just lighter than usual. But the mask is darker than the rest, so it actually makes the suit look grey compared to the mask. And I'm like, why is her suit grey all of a sudden?
Her cape's still black.
Yeah, it was weird. I was like, what was this choice? I don't understand.
I don't hate that choice, but I mean, I don't mind grey suits if you want to do it. If you're just going to tell me, we redesigned her, sure, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I like Batgirl's grey suit. I like when Batman has a grey suit. Like, I don't have a problem with grey suits. It was just weird because she's never had a grey suit. It was just all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And I think it was going to be I get that Batman's cowl is obviously a different colour from his suit, but it feels a bit weirder on Kate for some reason. I guess because
I think it works in context. It looks really weird on that first half-page panel at the top where you're looking at the inside of a cape, which is also red. I think when you get down to the next panels and you're kind of seeing over her shoulder and you see the black cape, and it's like the black cape goes into the mask.
Well, that's what happens with Batman.
I think it works a lot better there.
That's why it works with Batman.
Yeah. I think it's not as clear because her hair often covers that divide between the mask and the cape, so it doesn't make it look like one cohesive thing like it does with Batman over the top of his head.
Yeah, and for some reason, Batgirl and Batwoman like fight as they're explaining to each other why they're here. I'm like, why are you two fighting?
Which they were on the same team for a minute, right? So like they should at least be able to have a discussion.
I think Batwoman dropping in and like covering her mouth, being like, "Look, it's just me." That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. But there's panels of them kicking each other, and I'm like, okay, I get that Babs is pissed that Kate wasn't around for Alfred's funeral, or whatever. I'm happy with them bringing that stuff up. Again, that's that shared world kind of sense of continuity. Good stuff. But for some reason, they're kicking and punching each other, and they both end up on the ground, and I'm like. It'd be one thing if it was like if this was two characters who had a rivalry where this felt like it was in character for them to be fighting, but it feels like it felt like she ran into Catwoman or something. Maybe not current day Catwoman because she's more close to Bruce, but like it felt like Batgirl ran into Catwoman in like a previous era where they'll fight for a bit and then realize they have to team up. But it shouldn't feel like that because it's Batwoman. What is this scene?
I don't know. And then KGB shows up out of nowhere.
Yes. And then the cliffhanger is that he's grabbed Batgirl and they're going to use her for the next goal victim, essentially.
Right.
I really didn't like this issue at all, and because of that two-parter, which I also really didn't like, I was basically thinking about dropping this halfway through this issue. So.
Yep, me too. And the Jason Bard stuff, I still don't know why he was running, because he still has a bad leg, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we never got a thing on that.
No, playing dumb, like, did I bring something back from that other world? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And Bag was like, no, nothing else comes back. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
Then okay, yeah. And the follow-up.
Right. So, and then you're talking about the confusion on that part too, that there's a woman, right? But there was also a homeless guy.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff, and I was just like, I was getting confused as the story was playing out.
Yeah, you're right actually, because I talked about the voices off panel, but I also got confused because I didn't realize there was two victims.
Yeah. So like it's messy and it's not like I was contemplating dropping it as I was reading this, and it was taking forever to read.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of comics this week were taking forever to read, and it was making it not fun to be a comics fan.
This one took me a long time.
Yeah. This was a really weak issue, and it's a shame because I love Batgirl as a character, but like I think I'm probably done with this book, especially since it's out on a busy week, and this was a hard one to get through today. So.
And so the streak is broken. What was once one of the most consistent books.
Yeah. It was consistent until Castellucci. It was fine through
about 40 odd issues.
Yeah, it was fine for about 40
well, that said,
issues.
The first art Castellucci did was with the
I mean, three... I was a bit up and down on it.
Yeah.
With the Oracle stuff.
But again, that like I said, that seemed to be based heavily on what the previous run was doing as opposed to Castellucci's own thing. So yeah, but obviously American Scottish run I liked. Obviously I loved Hope Larson's run on the book. So unfortunately, I think this is me dropping Batgirl until we have a new writer to try.
I mean, it sounds like all of us are, to be honest.
Yeah, but it is what it is, but it makes room for other books if new things are going to be launching in the coming months. And when I say that, I mean after the break, obviously.
Sometime this year, maybe.
So that is what it is, but what are you giving this issue of Batgirl, Matt?
I'm giving this a 4.5.
Connor?
That's still a bit generous for me. I'm giving it a 3.
I'll give it a 4. So it's a shame, but it is what it is.
Yeah.